nigga, they just hit the second tower, my nigga. Pusha T is in the Epstein files. I hope he's not a pedophile or nothing like that, man.
We are a month, just one single month into 2026. And honestly, guys, I'm not sure if I could take much more of this year already. I've already seen too much in January, gotta be honest. Because as it is being reported in numerous outlets, the government has finally released another batch of Epstein file documents.
Hey nigga, we getting patch notes.
Sometimes lightly, sometimes heavily redacted. Of course, this dump has been a total of 3 million documents, including thousands and thousands and thousands of images and videos.
If niggas gonna get put in jail, I doubt one person will be put in jail for this one. I'll just mute it.
From Jeffrey Epstein himself. Total of 3 million documents, including thousands and thousands and thousands of images and videos, as well as emails from Jeffrey Epstein himself. And there have been some very curious points of exposure. There's been some questionable stuff that we've learned about Elon Musk, Bill Gates, but I'm not just bringing this up to talk about politics, because there is at least one major relevant story to the music world coming out of this file dump, which was making waves on social media this weekend. Apparently Jay-Z and also Pusha T's names turn up in these documents. So I thought we would look at the doc in which their names turn up and see what exactly is going on. I want to say before we go any deeper into this video, this type of content for this channel is usually pretty difficult to do. Typically involves a lot of censorship and kind of dancing around literally the topics that we are discussing as a means of not getting these videos demonetized. Because frankly, for those of you who want me to be discussing these issues, if these videos aren't getting monetized, YouTube is not sharing them to you, regardless of how vital the information in them may be. So please just know if certain details are being edited or glossed over a little bit, it is not my intention to sort of downplay the severity of what is being discussed here. These documents are public record, and you are well within your right to look them up for yourselves and see what's in them too. In fact, I recommend that you do that and you not just simply trust any one single source or random people on the internet to tell you what is in these files. Okay, so what has turned up here is in just this single 2-page file from the FBI, which I will read through now. It is described as having been logged in July 10th of July 2019. It came in at 8:20 a.m. Eastern Time over the FBI National Threat Operations Center hotline. This person called to identify herself as a victim of Jeff and others. Now, before I go deeper into this, I do want to say that the information here was sent in via a call through a number where when contacting the FBI, they have to take and they have to log all of this stuff legally because it is public information, even if it's not necessarily publicly available per se. It's the public information in terms of the government needs to own it and keep track of it. And the reason that's important is that there is a delineation between the nature of this and what we've broadly been discussing as Epstein files up till this point, meaning investigation-related documents the FBI collected while charging and convicting Jeff, which what we're reading here is not related to any investigation of the sort. Rather, it is a tip that, as far as I know, the FBI has not followed up on or have shown any further proof of investigating. But in approximately 1994, blank revealed herself to blank as a past victim of abuse by Jeff, described the abuse occurring during parties, further identified blank as a friend of blank. Again, the redactions. In approximately 1996, blank resided with blank in blank. An unknown man abducted her from her home, whence she later awoke in the presence of Harvey Weinstein and Sean Carter, Jay-Z, while Weinstein had, I'm not going to read that out loud. But it does say here that she believed she was in Epstein's mansion in Florida. The victim estimated she was abducted on 7 occasions, awaking each time in an opulent indoor setting, not alleging it's the same setting, a different setting, or just different opulent indoor settings, or I don't know. Blank suffered from abuse on multiple of those occasions in which Epstein participated. Blank recalled Leon Black and William Barr, current United States Attorney General, being present during some of the occasions of abuse. In approximately 2006, Blank last recalled being abused.
I was looking up who Harvey Weinstein is. That nigga made a lot of movies and touched a lot of
used
people
by
unconsensual.
Epstein. Okay, so this is the first half and the section in which Jay-Z's name comes up. And while an allegation is an allegation is an allegation, what has me kind of skeptical here is the time frame in which Jay-Z is cropping up here. 1996, which is not the earliest point of his career, but early enough in terms of his studio album discography. He was barely having moved out of Marcy at that point, and his first record only sold like 43,000 copies. There's been a litany of debates going back and forth about like whether or not it would have been believable for Jay-Z to sort of have been in these kinds of circles way back in 1996, which I know the water
just a random little black rapper. I don't know.
Do get muddy a little bit because of how popular and massive Jay-Z is as a figure now. So as a result of that, it's kind of easy to almost like, you know, always imagine him in that frame when, I'll be real, regardless of what people want to say in terms of Jay-Z's relevance within hip hop at that point, white people, specifically white people were not even having a hint of who Jay-Z was until Hard Knock Life dropped. That's just for real. I'll also note that years ago at this point, Jeffrey Epstein's Little Black Book, as we know it, that was packed full of celebrities and verified to be authentic. Yeah, that leaked a while ago, and there were lots of celebrity names in that black book, obviously not all of which were involved in his crimes. But I noticed from what I see, Jay-Z's name is not in there anywhere. Again, on its face, the allegation, the story itself doesn't seem like the most outlandish in the world. What leaves me wondering is the lack of a paper trail or any sort of communications. Because, I mean, as the thousands of other documents that have dropped have shown, Jeffrey was in pretty regular contact with a lot of his most famous and successful and demanding associates. The idea that Jay-Z would be doing this, but his name wouldn't be getting thrown around seems kind of strange to me. And in a way that's even kind of stranger for Pusha T, who turns up in this next page here. Same call, same allegation, just continued. So on each occasion in which this person was being abducted as well as taken advantage of, she believed she was drugged, clouding her memory, and attributed the drugging as frequently performed by persons assigned as handlers, whom she described as persons who established friendships with the victims. Among her handlers, Blank identified the artist Pusha T. Another allegation comes after this, but I want to address this part first, because it's very difficult to square given the specificity of this timeline here. Because again, the victim says that she was abducted 7 times between the years of basically 2006 and 1996. And within that period of time, at the beginning of which, keep in mind, Pusha T is a 19-year-old from Virginia, for an unspecified amount of times, Pusha T was drugging her and was also her handler. Again, it's not specified how many times Pusha T was involved in this process, but
it's
enough to be among these individuals who were seen as having established friendships with the victims. And again, that's just really confusing for me personally, because I can't quite make sense of how this would work in the earlier portion of this timeline or even the latter portion. Because do I see Pusha T as a barely legal teenager from Virginia being a full-time or part-time trafficking handler on behalf of Jeff Epstein? That I don't know. But even deeper into the 2000s, at the height of Clips's popularity and success, I have a difficult time making sense of this too. And again, maybe it wouldn't if the allegation were merely, oh, you know, Pusha T was among the many celebrities that Epstein was involved with during that time. But no, the handler framing makes it seem almost as if he's like working for him. You want me to believe that Pusha T, while being one half of Clips and kind of building up this fledgling rap career, is a part-time, full-time handler for Epstein. So again, while obviously turning up in this file dump has me like, you know, really worrying and really concerned, simultaneously the idea of Pusha T in this portion of his life finding the time to serve in this role for Jeff, while also doing it and leaving basically no paper trail, no communications of Jeff to him back and forth in this recent dump anyway, again, has me kind of wondering. It's after this another allegation.
He in the clear, my nigga. I'm just playing, but I do hope that he's not guilty of, you know, doing anything heinous, just because I like him personally as a rapper. But that's not the best stance to hold. I just hope the truth is brought to light, whoever it supports, regardless of who I'm in favor of.
Comes, and the alleged victim says that she had another run-in with Pusha T, which also included Harvey Weinstein at a 2007 party. This particular occurrence seems to have nothing to do with Epstein, at least from the framing of this document. She just so happens to have been invited to a party by an unknown man. Pusha T and Weinstein were there, according to the allegation. She was drugged, taken advantage of. And I feel like this portion of the allegations is maybe a little bit easier to swallow, maybe because it doesn't involve anything other than a single encounter, like not an ongoing claim of some sort of handler type employment, but also especially considering how well connected Harvey Weinstein was and how open he was about who he knew and who he commiserated with and who he worked with and who was like, you know, a part of his circle of collaborators and so on and so forth. Do we have any info on whether or not Pusha T even knew Harvey Weinstein? The alleged victim also says that she believes she was basically under surveillance and stalked at the direction of people involved in the abuse. It is also said that she confirms that she was not diagnosed with any mental illness, but again, that's by her account. And also says she refused to provide a physical address, advising that she maintained no permanent address. Rather, she moved between staying at different hotels. Look, a lot of people coming into this video are going to be curious as to what my personal assessment of all of this is, what it means. And let it be known, I'm not a fucking FBI investigator. If I was, I probably would have looked into this immediately to the best of my abilities to see whether there was any validity in it or not. But as it currently stands, this has me concerned, but I'm also kind of skeptical because there are also no corroborating images, videos, or emails citing anything in this allegation, or even that there was a direct line of communication or even an indirect line of communication between Jay-Z and Jeff and Pusha T and Jeff. Because as some of these emails indicate too, sometimes Jeff was having discussions with others through a third party. I will also say, given our recent video on Michael Jackson with respect to these documents, there is reason to question and wonder about the motives of the government when dropping certain pieces of documentation that involve celebrity names with regards to Epstein, because often that can have the effect of distracting people from the biggest names in the files, and also how many times Trump turns up in the files yet again.
We know
because
that nigga's
obviously for a lot of internet users,
bro. Hey, the second that nigga term is up, we gotta, like, the second he walk out of office, we gotta put that nigga in handcuffs. Really, he should be in handcuffs right now. But no way that everybody know that nigga a pedophile. But we just like, it's like he convinced us to not talk about it, like, cause we're the ones bringing up the awkward fact. That nigga is a criminal, like a proven, not a conspiracy, nothing like that. That nigga is a convicted criminal, bro. Get that nigga going, bro.
It's way more fun to talk about celebrities, even when in that previous document dump, there were images that involved Michael Jackson that had nothing to do with Epstein in there, and were clearly worked in as a means of making Michael the story here. And while I don't think that's the same play that's being executed here, I do think there is an intentional muddying of the waters when you dump all of this documentation at once and basically act as if these images or photos of Jeff with victims or maybe people who he was connected with at this time, treating that as if it has the same level of significance as a hotline tip that there was no further investigation on and no corroborating evidence on. I'm just going to have different reads on those two things. I will also say I'm interested to see how Jay-Z or Pusha T respond to all of this, especially given that in recent years, when allegations such as these have come up with regard to Jay-Z, he has been quite litigious. It would be kind of surprising to me if he did not attack this allegation with the same viciousness. And the final thing I want to say before I close this video out, the way in which this document and the story of this alleged victim here has been cynically weaponized in, of course, Stan Wars. Yes, people who already
look, every Stan, right? Drake, Kanye, Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Nicki Minaj, Kendrick Lamar, Stans. You're all retarded. Don't, bro. Being a Stan is one of the dumbest things you could do as a grown ass adult. Think for yourself. Stop being delusional, my nigga. Because these niggas don't know you. You're not getting money off this shit. You're not profiting. Why are you sloshing that shit around your mouth for free?
had a reason in their minds to hate Pusha T and hate Jay-Z because he made a diss track against Drake a decade ago at this point. When you have tubs of shit like Los Pollos tweeting this story out. When morons like that are coalescing so quickly around a story like this, it just reads as a little desperate and transparent. Like, I'm sorry, no, I don't wholeheartedly believe that the OV-ho fan base who watched Champagne Papi cheer for the freedom of Tory Lanez after he shot Megan. No, I don't believe that fan base cares about the well-being of women. And look, even without an Epstein connection, hip-hop and the music industry at large has had issues along these lines for years. Jay-Z for years had pretty close connections with R. Kelly, and even more figures have been closely connected to Diddy, be it through their personal life or their music. I mean, even Push. So look, guys, I'm not coming on here to say like, oh, there's no reason to question anything. There's no reason to be concerned about, various allegations going on within the music industry. For sure, absolutely, positively there is. But is this particular document here like, setting off alarm bells in my head? Not fully, but there could be corroborating information coming out on the way, given that this is making the kind of buzz and headway that it is as a story. We'll just have to see. So as of right now, I'm going to leave it there. Over here next to my head is another video that you guys can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony
Big
Fantano.
Yikes.
Forever.
Yeah, big yikes, my nigga. Facts. That's facts right there.